Hello, everyone. This is Shelby Tuck Horton, Vice President of Education for the Association of Bridal Consultants. I am so very excited to present to you today for our Wedding Wednesday webinar, Kylie Sammond. Kylie is from South Carolina and she's the founder of Sammond Events. And she's also the new representative. She's the new ABC ambassador for South Carolina. So I am going to mute myself and turn it over to Kylie. And remember, before she comes, remember if you don't have your name on your screen, please put it on there so that we can take attendance. And also, if you have any questions during Kylie's presentation, please put it in the chat and we'll get to it after the presentation. I present to you now Kylie Sammond.
Thank you, Shelby. So as that was a great introduction, as Shelby said, my name is Kylie Sammond. Today we're going to simplify social media in a way that actually supports your business rather than overwhelming it. And I do want to be mindful of everyone's time. I know some of us are on lunch breaks and we have meetings coming up. So what we're going to do is go through the presentation first completely and address questions at the end. So like Shelby said, please put them in the chat and please have your name reflected as your actual name so that we can give you attendance and know who's asking the questions. And the next slide will have my contact information. So jot that down in case you need to go early and you have questions, you can reach out to me later. So again, I'm Kylie Sammond, founder and lead wedding planner of Sammond Events based in Columbia, South Carolina. And I am also serving as one of the South Carolina ambassadors of ABC. We also have Marsha in here, shout out, she's our other ambassador. Quick plug, we do have a meeting happening in Lexington, South Carolina next week. So if you are in South Carolina and interested in coming to that, be sure to register on the ABC website and you can find all of the information there as well. I have been planning weddings for about 12 years. I started actually with my certification through Penn Foster, like many of you. And I've worked in marketing now for about a decade as well. So I've managed several brands online. On the internet. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get into the presentation. So reframing your mindset, I want to start with this mindset shift. Social media is not about promotion constantly. It's not about trends. It's about proof. So when a client finds you, they go to your page and answer one question, and that's, can I trust this person with my event? And your content is what's answering that question. So every post you share should help answer one of these three questions. Can they do the job? Do I trust them? Will I enjoy working with them? If your content only shows pretty events, you're only answering the first question. The other two are actually what is going to get you booked. So this is the framework you need. You need your portfolio, authority, and presence. If you ever feel like you're stuck on what to post, come back to these three categories. You don't need more ideas, you just need structure. So let's go ahead and break down each of these categories one by one. So first we have portfolio. This is what you do. We have weddings and events, the details, before and after of a space, and designing moments throughout the planning process. And this builds desire. So this is what most planners are already doing well, and your portfolio shows your taste and capability. But on its own, it's not enough to convert a client. So that's where authority will come in. This is how you think. So you're giving tips, budget guidance, planning insights, and what clients don't realize, ABC. So this right here builds trust. This is where planners are underutilizing social media. So this gives you an advantage here. You have years of experience. This is where you share it. This is what positions you as the expert, not just someone with pretty photos. And next is present. what it's like to work with you. So this is behind the scenes or your to-do list for this week or even just today, your vendor appreciation, which is also going to get you tied in with vendors that are going to be more inclined to refer you. And then calm leadership moments. So this builds connection. And this is not about oversharing your life. We don't need to know that you had to run to Costco today, but it's showing how you operate. Clients want to know, will this person make my life easier? And this is where you show them that the answer is yes. So this is how the shift happens. If you only post your work, you'll be seen as talented, but when you add authority and presence, you become trusted. And the trusted planners are the planners that get booked. So now let's get into some different platforms that you can be using to advertise these things for your company. So Instagram, think of Instagram as your digital portfolio. So it should feel cohesive and intentional. And you actually don't need to post every day like a lot of people tell you you need to. 2 to 3 times a week is more than enough when it's done well. Next up, stories. So stories are where you still stay relevant without pressure. And this is where you can become more casual, sharing quick updates or small wins or moments from your day. And it keeps you visible without requiring a post. So I can do a quick behind the scenes, photo of me at an event, or I can say, hey, I'm in Augusta, and while I'm here, we're going kayaking, and it's just a fun thing to do where I'm doing a wedding as well in my free time. So you can get a little more casual there. And then for many of you, Facebook is still a strong source of inquiries. And the goal here is not perfection, it's participation. So answer questions, be visual, be helpful, and that's actually what will drive your leads. And now I know some of you might be curious about trying TikTok. I have tried it in the past. I kind of stopped at the beginning of last year when they were going through their whole will they, won't they shut down thing. The thing about TikTok, from my experience, is it is really hard to drive a target audience based on your location. So if you are a luxury planner that will go all over the world, it might be worth it to post on there. But if you stick to like your state or a region, it might not be worth your time making these TikToks and following these trends to get into the algorithm. Um, if you want to try it, it's all up to you. I don't think it's worth it in my personal opinion. Um, so let's talk about what's not working. Um, Most of the time, it's not that your content isn't good, but it's that there's no consistency or structure behind it. Platforms will push your content the more consistent you are, and your brand becomes more recognizable the more structured it is. So you don't need to do more, you just need to do it more intentionally. So here's actually a plan for you. So we've got on Instagram 2 to 3 posts per week. Do one portfolio post showing your work, one post of authority showing your expertise, and one showing your presence. Give them a little bit of you, give them a little personality, what it's like to be working with you. And then your stories you can do a few times per week. Facebook, if you want, you can, I would recommend just sticking with that 2 to 3 posts. You can do it on both. And then in Facebook, you can also just be present in groups and answering people's questions. Find local groups or the areas you want to work in. There are tons of wedding groups and there are tons of couples with questions, and you can show in with that authority, make yourself that expert and have them reach out to you. So this is your baseline. And if you just do this consistently, you will see a difference. So keep it simple, keep it sustainable, and that's what's going to build your momentum for your social media presence. So the goal is not to be the loudest planner online. It's to be the one that they will remember when they are ready to book. So clarity, consistency, those things will take you much further than trying to do everything. So here's what I propose for you. If you take nothing else from today, start here, share a recent event photo, and talk about what made it successful. And then a few days later, share one planning tip that clients often overlook. How many of us know that one thing that your clients always forget about, and then they book you and you're kind of trying to pick up the pieces? For me, a lot of people will already book their venue way over budget. We get the budget as after they book me, and we're trying to scale down. So you take this time to educate your future clients on how they can avoid those things. And then three, share a behind the scenes moment. So whether you're touring a venue or you have a meeting with another vendor, and those are great opportunities to tag those vendors and get more visibility from their audiences. I can't tell you how much collaborations will help bring attention to your brands. All right. So if you have to go, I know we kind of went through that quickly, but if you have to go, feel free. Thank you so much for joining today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, we can go ahead and open it up for questions now. We have quite a bit of time.
Kylie, would you share with the members on the call how you came up with that solution for the way that you actually the three times that you post?
Yeah,
Did you come up with
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, so it's been with trial and error. I find that um, giving that behind the scenes, my clients love to see that because when they book somebody, it's a risk. And as they see me working behind the scenes, whether it's their event or someone else's, it kind of gives them that fresher breath air or breath of fresh air that they've made a good decision and they're working with somebody who knows what they're doing. They're in safe hands. Their wedding's in safe hands. So the presence really helps with that. And then authority. Again, education, and then also showing your expertise. That way, when people are prospecting you, they're 1000% going to go to your social media platforms and scope you out before they fill that inquiry form out. So if they see you know what you're talking about, and a lot of them, they don't know what they don't know. So if you're telling them what they don't know, they're going to think, oh, I really need to book her or him. They know what they're talking about. They're going to guide me through this process, and I can just sit back and make make decisions to make things pretty, but they're going to handle all the logistics for me. And then,
Thank
of course, portfolio goes without saying. You need to have that online.
Absolutely. So we do have a question from Marcia. She wants to know what software or apps do you use to create your social media post?
That's a great question. So to create the actual graphics, I'm a Canva girl. I love Canva. Um, you can either make whole photos or you can make graphics. You can do infographics where you're putting bullet points, or carousels are great. The more you vary your types of posts, so if it's a reel or a photo or a carousel, that's going to grab attention from Instagram and Facebook. They love to have a variance. They want you to be using the different features. As far as scheduling things out, I personally use a application called NG. It's ENJI, and it is great to schedule out way in advance. If you're looking for a free option, you can just use the actual platforms themselves. Meta has a planner. They have a whole business center with a planner in it. And my thing with that is you can only go 29 days out, and sometimes I want to do more. I love to work in batches. That way I don't have to worry about social media for a while. And um, But that is a free option, and you can just go in there every month, plot out your post for the month, and call it a day. And then you just have to log in and engage with people, which is easy. You're not having to think about it. But NG is great, and they actually have an AI feature to help you craft your captions and things too. So if you're not good with that, it is a good tool. There's also Planoly. There's all sorts of different scheduling platforms out there to use.
Thank you.
Mhm.
McCole wants to know, should I run Meta platform ads or focus on organic growth first?
That's a good question. I have tried the ads. Um, it's really hard to get that location. You can, but I've had it show up in places I did not want it to, and you're kind of throwing money away. I really feel organic growth is where it's going to be at because your the people you're trying to reach out to are the ones trying to find you as well. So just focusing on SEO, really, search engine optimization, that's going to help you find the people that are looking for you, looking for a planner in your area with your expertise.
And thank you for that. Later on in the summer, we are going to have a Facebook expert that's going to talk about Facebook ads. So specifically, another question, should I open a business Instagram for wedding post? Okay, wait a minute. Should I open a business Instagram for a wedding post rather than using my personal profile? I'm new to the wedding industry.
Absolutely. You definitely want to have a business for your business have its own accounts. That way, if you want to have personal, like I have my own personal and I have it private because if I want to share something, about my family or, about my day, I don't want my clients always to see it or potential clients. There's just those boundaries. I don't need them knowing every little detail about my life. And you can just, there's a little more security and just being personal. And you can stick on your brand. So really get your brand identity on there, and it's a better way to showcase your portfolio. People can just go in, they're not having to dive through what you did this past weekend. If you went to the Strawberry Festival, they can just see your wedding work, get to the chase, say, okay, this is somebody I trust, let's inquire.
Next question. What are your thoughts on collaboration post?
I'm
Chanel.
very big on them. Um, I always tag everybody involved, every vendor involved, whether it's an event or a styled shoot, because it is going to add them to exposure, and then vice versa. They're going to be more inclined to share it with their audience, which is going to bring their audience to you. And there's also, you can actually list them as a collaborator up to 4 people. And that actually gets your post listed on their page. And so these are just great ways to pull in people and to put you into other people's algorithms. So the more collaborative you are with people, it does give you more attention. And it also shows that vendors, you have connections. So it's a double win. It shows you are experienced, you know what you're doing, and you have those connections because a lot of times that is why clients are hiring us. It's because they don't have to worry about going through all of these vendors. The top tier, you're going to get them in with them.
Do you place hidden words on your post in order to attract more viewers?
It's a great question. I personally do not do it on my social media. On my website, I do. I will list um, at like in captions and titles of my images. That's how I hide them. I will do like South Carolina wedding planner, or just different keywords like that. So for websites, I think it's great. I'm not so sure about the social media, especially with the way they change the policies and things. I wouldn't want you to get penalized for doing that. So website, yes, social media, just tread lightly.
So we have another question. When I first set up, I had to set up my business as a page attached to my personal. Is there a way to only have business?
From my knowledge, no. Otherwise, I would not have a personal Facebook page either. I do believe you have to have a personal to have that business. One caveat is if you have somebody else, if you have another employee that has an account, you can have them hold it and then log in that way. But as far as I know, to start one, you have to have a page.
Next question, would it be smart to hire a content creator to shoot behind the scenes activity at an event?
Absolutely. This is something I've done. And then we always get them for our styled shoots too, because it's going to allow you to get video content. And it's a lot of times behind the scenes. When you're doing an event and you have a videographer, what you're going to get is just the final product. But if you get a content creator and you've hired them yourselves, you're going to get so much great behind the scenes content showing your expertise. They're actually going to guide you into what to do. Like, go back here and fold this napkin so I can get a shot of you folding this napkin or fixing this floral arrangement. They're going to know what to get, what shots are going to look good, and when you consult with them, because probably should consult with them before you actually go out for the shoot, you can let them know what you're wanting to convey on your site, and they can really translate that. And they just have an eye for everything. Just like our clients consult with us and hire us to do that, content creators, it's a kind of the same thing. We're hiring them because they have that knowledge and expertise. So I highly recommend getting a content creator to help you out.
Kara has a question, and Kara, can you unmute and ask your question? I want to make sure I get it right. I think it's clarify hidden work, or is that words?
Hi there. Could you clarify what hidden words are? And I was just also answering a concern or a question that I thought you had that, yes, you have to have a personal Facebook account to do a business account. That's the way that at least I started that for my account, for
Thank
my
you.
business. Yeah.
She wants you to clarify what a hidden word is.
Yeah, so in online marketing, there is this big buzzword. Maybe a lot of you have probably heard of it. A lot of you probably haven't. It's SEO, search engine optimization. And what that is through your social media, through your websites, anything that you're posting online, you're feeding search engines. So Google, Bing, Yahoo, uh, you're letting them know who you are and what you do through these words. And so you want to make sure that you're putting in enough of those words and terms so when Google, I think they do it monthly, they're scanning everything online, they're knowing what you do. So for me, in example, if someone types in South Carolina wedding planner, I have a better chance of popping up higher. So that's what SEO is. And so throughout websites or social media, you can do like hidden words so people can't really see them, but they're there so that Google can see it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I just wasn't, and I've heard of search engine optimization. I thought hidden words were something different. Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kylie.
Mhm.
The next question, I'm currently building experience by working weddings and have permission to post. Do you think it's a good idea to share this on my business Instagram to demonstrate my involvement?
Absolutely. Use everything you do and use those tags and the collaborations. If you're assisting, list yourself as the assistant planner and list the planner. That way you show you're working with professionals. This is the work you're doing and you are gaining that experience. And then people will see that. They'll say, okay, she knows what she's doing. And also from my perspective, I would see they're taking the time to get that experience instead of jumping in and saying, I know what I'm doing when you have zero experience. So yes, in short, yes.
Okay, next question. How can I make social media content without spending hours a day?
That is a toughie. I mean, there are little shortcuts you can do. I know some people do AI where they will just say, "Hey, can you give me a content calendar to do for the month?" Or there's other resources online. A couple of social media wedding specific coaches. There's Amanda Wrightsman with the Bridal Theory. There's Candace Coppola. They do like their monthly calendars and just to give you ideas at least. And you can start from there and then just make your calendar and batch creation and batch posting. Schedule out a few hours to take if you're going to do reels to make some videos, whether it's like this where you're just sitting in front
Yeah.
of a camera talking to the
Yeah.
camera, or if you're doing a styled shoot, um, just plot out that time, create it all, plot out a few hours, edit it all, and then plot out a few hours to schedule it all. And as you're doing it in little batches like that, it'll help you save some time.
I love batching. It saves so much time.
It really does.
Next question. This is from Nicole. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what to do. What goals should I focus on first? Followers, engagement, leads, or sales?
I would say leads. We're using it to book. So, followers doesn't always translate into bookings. It might be vendors. It might be, someone who I've had a few people that say they're expecting to get engaged soon and they inquire with me and they haven't been proposed to. You might get some of those girls that are following you. Um, followers doesn't translate to sales. So we want to focus on the leads. What's driving people to click the link in your bio and go inquire on your services and set up a consultation with you? So um, I would definitely say the leads and the sales are the most important part.
Okay, okay, so wait a minute. We have another question. Margie says, how do you turn followers into paying customers?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like I said, all of your followers are not going to be clients. However, get in if you've got a lot of vendors, get in touch with them, figure out a way to collaborate with them, and that's going to turn into referrals. And referrals are going to be the best way for you to get business. So building those relationships, no matter who your followers are, make sure you're engaging with them on the regular and engage with their content. If they're posting a story, send them a message about it or respond to them. Form these little friendships and they're going to be more inclined to refer you out. So I would say that's the best way, not necessarily looking at a follower as a customer, but a follower as a referral.
So I have another one that's a follow-up to that. Another question, what types of posts perform best right now? Reels, stories, carousels, or lives? Do either one of them have a greater weight than another one with capturing my audience's attention?
So I feel like reels probably hold a little more weight. A lot of people, they go to their reels tab on the bottom and just endlessly scroll. So Reels, but Instagram and probably Facebook too are more likely going to push your content out if you are using that variety and using it consistently. So sticking to that 2 to 3 posts and switching it up every week. You might want to do a carousel, especially if it's like a busy week and you don't have time to take a picture or take a video. Make a carousel and you can do that on your phone from, Canva.
So are there any other questions? So it looks like you all might get an early release day today from class. So if there are no other questions, Kylie, I thank you very much for sharing with us today. And I thank everyone who was attending today's webinar, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. I appreciate your joining us today and enjoy the rest of your afternoon since you get an early release from your class today. Goodbye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.